So the new year just started and a lot of people are getting into the gym for the first time. And I think this is absolutely wonderful. The gym has transformed my life in more ways than I can ever articulate in one video. And the gym will transform your life as well if you give it the chance. But the only way that will happen is if you stick with it long enough to see the progress. And the only way that that'll happen is if you get through that initial phase of confusion, overwhelm, and frustration with being in the gym for the first time. Some years ago, I was just like you. I was a beginner who walked into the gym for the first time and had absolutely no idea what he was doing. And just like you, I felt embarrassed, I felt lost, and overwhelmed. I didn't know how to use the equipment. I didn't know what workouts I needed to be doing, what muscles I needed to be hitting, or how to hit them. I was seeing girls lifting more than I knew I could lift. And ultimately, I was completely and utterly lost. And if that's you, I need you to understand something. That's not going to go away. At least not anytime soon. You're a beginner, and it's okay to be lost. It's okay to not know what you're doing. But in this video, I want to help you avoid some of the biggest mistakes that most gym beginners make so that you can at least look less lost than all of the other beginners. And maybe soon enough, you'll be in a position where people are asking you for advice and you can actually give it to them. And you'll quickly realize that, wow, people actually see me as a credible source of information. That's what I want for you. But in order to do that, you have to avoid these mistakes. The first of which being not having a program. You need to have a program when you go to the gym. What does this mean? Basically, when you walk in the gym, you don't want to be the person who's aimlessly wandering from one piece of equipment to the next, doing a workout that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You don't want to be going from the rowing machine to the elliptical and then doing a few squats with the dumbbell and then doing lateral raises and then doing pull-ups or something like that. No, you want to have a program so that you can at the very least have a sense of direction. Before you walk in the gym every day, you should already know what you are going to do once you are there. And the best way to do this is to have a split. What is a split? A split determines which muscles you hit and when you hit them. So, for example, a lot of people do a push-pull-leg split. That's the program that they run. Meaning that on the first day, they do all push exercises. So they do every exercise that hits their chest, their triceps, and a lot of times shoulders as well. So this is bench press, this is push-ups, this is dips, this is pec deck. Anything that hits your chest and your triceps, they would do it on this day. The pull day, they do all of the pulling exercises, pull-ups, rows, reverse pec deck, anything that hits your back and your biceps, maybe bicep curls, all of the pulling exercises. And then on the last day, they hit legs, meaning, well, they hit legs. The point is, that's not the only program to run. I don't even run that program myself. I run an Arnold split. But the point is, you need to have a program so that whenever you go in the gym, not only will you not be lost, but you can actually do a workout that is effective and that will get you the progress that you need to get in order to continue going. Because if you go to the gym for a year and you don't see any progress, you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to quit. And really, if that's the case, you probably should take some time to sit back and create a program so that when you get back into the gym, you can actually make use of the time that you're in there rather than literally wasting your life away doing all of this hard work and not getting anything in return for it. Make sure that you have a program. Ask ChatGPT to create a program for you. In fact, depending on how this video and some of my other fitness videos go, I might showcase my own program as well. So depending on how this video goes, stay tuned for that. But you need to have a program. Now, the next big mistake that a lot of gym beginners make, and really a lot of people in general make, not just beginners, but even people who have been going to the gym for years, is they don't re-rack the weights. Now, this is more of a personal complaint, and forgive me for the rant that I'm about to go on, but oh my gosh, this is one of the most annoying things to see. And truthfully, it's not that people just do it out of spite or that they have ill intent, it's that they just don't know. But now you know. So don't be that person. Don't be that person who does bench press and leaves all of the weight on the bar. This is annoying not only because the next person has to unrack your weight and then put their weight on, but also it's annoying because then, especially if it's a smaller gym with very few bench presses or very few squat racks, people won't know if you're actually done with the equipment. Because sometimes people leave the equipment, go to the bathroom, fill up their water, whatever, or talk to somebody, and then they come back and they get right back on it. So they're still on the equipment. Don't be that person who gives off that impression and makes other people, by other people I mean me, makes other people's workouts take longer than they have to because they're waiting for you to finish with the equipment when in all actuality you've been done for the past 10 minutes. Re-rack your weights. You're in the gym to work out. See this as an extra workout. See this as a warm-up and a cool-down. If you can't re-rack the weights, you shouldn't be lifting that much weight to begin with. If you can't pull those 45-pound plates off of the barbell, you should not be lifting 45-pound plates on the barbell. Plain and simple. Re-rack your weights. There is literally no excuse not to do this. Don't be that guy. Now, the next thing that you need to avoid in the gym as a beginner is you need to avoid using improper form. This is absolutely critical, not just for your gains, because if you don't use the proper form, you can do all the reps in the world, but you're not going to see gains. But it's also critical and crucial for your overall health. If you want to be healthy, if you want to avoid injuries, especially when you get into heavier weights, you need to make sure, it is absolutely imperative that you make sure that you're using the proper form. And if you've been lifting for maybe a couple of months now, this might mean you have to lower the weight down, and it's going to hurt your ego. And that's okay, because the gym isn't about ego. The gym is about humility. It's about taking the time to humble yourself and saying that, hey, I see girls doing bicep curls with heavier weight than me. And that's okay, because this is just where I am right now. And nobody thinks less of me for it. Nobody who has taken the time to transform their bodies is going to look down on you for doing the same. They're not, because they understand the process and they have so much respect for it that they respect anybody who's willing to go through it. So you're not being judged for lowering the weight and using proper form, prioritizing proper form. Absolutely essential. And right along with this is ego lifting. That is the next big mistake that a lot of gym beginners make. Please, 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 please don't be that guy who is in the gym ego lifting. I say this as somebody who was once that guy. Last year, I decided to reintegrate isolation movements. So I started doing bicep curls and some other tricep movements, basically things for my arms. And I lifted very heavy weight when I had no business doing that because I had not done those movements in years. And what happened? You guessed it. I got injured. I messed my wrist up and I couldn't do bicep curls for months. As a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, the start of January this year, I was finally able to reintegrate bicep curls after months of not being able to do them. I learned my lesson. I am progressing very slowly now because slow progression over time equals gains in the long run. And a lot of times when you're lifting weight that you have no business lifting, that doesn't impress people. All people are going to see is somebody who's trying to cheat the process, and they will lose respect for you because of it. Anybody, like I said, who has been through that process knows what it actually entails. So don't be that guy who's trying to cheat the process by ego lifting, by doing bicep curls with a 45-pound plate on each side of the bar, and you just started working out a month ago, and you're doing your curls like this. Don't be that guy. Do not allow yourself to be that guy, because again, ego lifting means that you're lifting weight that you have no business lifting, which very likely means that you're using improper form, which leaves you at a much greater risk for injuries. Now, the main reason why people ego lift more often than not is because they are comparing themselves to others, and that is the next big mistake that a lot of gym beginners make. This is a mistake that I definitely used to make quite a bit. I would see people who had much nicer bodies than me, and I would think, wow, I need to get like them, so let me go ahead and try to skip steps. Let me do more advanced things so that I can get a body like theirs faster. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You can't cheat the process. There's no way around this. Even if you take performance enhancing drugs, which I would definitely not recommend you do, even if you were to do that, you still have to lift the weight. You still have to progress. Otherwise, you will get injured. It may not happen the first workout or the 5th workout or even the 10th workout, but eventually it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it'll set you back literal months. And I'm speaking from experience with this. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to someone like me who has been working out for 5 or 6 years now consistently, who doesn't ever miss gym sessions. I'm in the gym 7 days a week. If you're in the gym 2 days a week, you can't compare yourself to me. And even if you were in the gym the same 7 days a week that I am, you might have different genetics than me. Everyone has a different starting point. Some people start off underweight, some people start off overweight, some people start off skinny fat, some people start off already having 6-packs. I was one of those people, which is why I've never made a video on how to get abs. It's because I was just basically born with them. Don't compare yourself to other people unless you know for certain that they had a similar starting point as you. If that's the case, then you can use them as a reference point, but don't compare where you are now to where they are now, because they are further along than you. It's like comparing your age to somebody else's age. They've simply been alive longer than you. If they're older than you, they've been on this earth longer than you. They were born before you, therefore they're older than you. Working out is the exact same. If somebody's been working out for longer than you and they had a similar starting point as you, they are going to be ahead of you pretty much forever. And that's okay. There will always be somebody ahead of you. Always. Unless you're Mr. Olympia, Mr. Universe, whatever. Unless you win that competition, there will always be somebody ahead of you. And that is okay. Because the goal isn't to get ahead of other people. The goal is to get ahead of your younger self. And if you make that your mission, once you see the progress, you will literally become a gym junkie like I have. Now, the next big mistake that a lot of gym beginners make is they avoid hard exercises. What do I mean by that? Well, generally speaking, when you work out, everything you do should be hard. But what a lot of people do is they try to find workarounds for this rule. They try to find different variations that make things easier. Maybe their left arm is a lot weaker than their right arm, or vice versa if you're a left-handed person. And to compensate for this, instead of working on the weakness of their left arm, they do barbell bicep curls because they find it easier. And they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they need to work on that weaker arm. Don't be that person, because this will catch up to you as well in the form of muscular imbalances. Not only will this affect your physique, but this can very well affect your health if you're not careful. This can make you much more susceptible to injuries. And injuries, as you can tell through all of the things that I've said in this video, are absolutely crushing when you are somebody who loves the gym, when you're somebody who is actually making progress and then has to take months off from making that progress and has to watch your gains slowly but surely dwindle away, and you can't do anything about it. you can do something about it. Make sure that you are doing the hard exercises ahead of time so that you can work on all of your weaknesses. And through that process, you will give yourself a much better chance at not only lifting for a long time without getting injured, but also for having a much nicer physique. Don't avoid squats because they're hard. If they're hard, that's probably a good indication that you should do them. Don't avoid push-ups because they're hard. If they're hard, it's probably a good indication that you should do them, because that means that you have weaknesses in the muscles that particular exercise works. As a matter of fact, what I like to do is I like to pick the most difficult exercises and do those. When I hit arms, I like to do everything strict. I like to do skull crushers lying down on the bench so that I can't use any momentum. It's all triceps, so that I can work on that weakness. When I do bicep curls, I like to do them sitting down on an incline so that I can work on each arm individually. Or I like to do them standing with my back against the wall so that I can't use momentum. Make the workouts harder for yourself and you will see gains. This is a cardinal primary rule of the gym. The more difficult your workout is, the more gains and the more progress you will see. Now, the next big mistake that I see a lot of gym beginners make is they don't stretch. They don't stretch. This is something that I was guilty of, and guess where this got me? This got me in physical therapy for the better part of 2 years, out of my own pocket, spending $25 to $35 per session twice a week. For years. Physical therapy is not fun. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. Because guess what happens when you go to physical therapy? Guess what they make you do? They make you stretch. They make you stretch. They make you work on your weaknesses. And they make you do all of the things that you should have been doing in your own time in the first place. I thought that I was too young to get injured. I thought that I didn't need to stretch because, I'm only 19, I'm only 20, I don't need to stretch. By the time I was 22, I could barely even touch my knees. I couldn't bend down and touch my knees because I didn't stretch. Make sure that you are stretching. And just like with exercises, make sure you're doing the stretches that are the hardest for you. For me, the hardest stretch is the one where I reach down and I touch my toes to stretch my hamstrings because I know that I have tight hamstrings naturally. So what do? I make sure I do that stretch every single day without fail. Because that stretch, being as hard as it is the biggest indication that it's the one that I need the most. If you've made it this far into the video, then clearly you're looking to transform your life, whether that's your health, your finances, your love life, or your mindset. And transformation is much easier when you have a trustworthy person to hold your hand through the entire process. And that's why I'm proud to announce the pre-sale for my new coaching program. No, it's not some $997 course that promises to help you make $10,000 a month in 30 days. But it is all of my knowledge from 6 years of self-improvement in one convenient place. It is a brotherhood of young men like yourself who are looking to level up. It is a place where you can receive direct advice from me and learn all of my lessons with none of my losses. And if you join now, you can lock in the current price of $57 forever. Because once I officially launch it, the price is going up significantly. No, this isn't some fake scarcity marketing tactic. I'm actually increasing the price once it launches. That way, we won't have too many members causing chaos like in my old Discord server. If you know, you know. So if that sounds even remotely interesting to you, click the link in the description and join now.